show going, man.
Hurry up, hurry up! Hurry up!
Hurry up! Hurry up!
Come on now. We're going to have action soon. Right here. It ain't going nowhere.
Well, yeah, you got some technique, boy. You ain't show me that this summer.
Hey, why on tap?
Ball at the 5, third down and 2.
That was bad.
Let's go have some fun, bro. We ain't got to talk about too much.
He wasn't playing the ball.
It's holding.
Cliff, how is that not called?
That ain't going to call a damn thing.
What is the delay for? He's standing right there.
He's taking a card out. He's a piece of paper.
It's that close? Dear Lord.
Hello and welcome. We are the Aussie Guys. I'm AJ. Here with me is Ben and G. How are you, gentlemen?
How did I get relegated to number 2?
G and Ben.
See, look, I'm even on the top line now. So close. So close. Just when you thought
I just ripped my headphones out.
I've made the correction. All right. So, what did you do?
I ripped my headphones out. I still haven't got used to this Bluetooth thing.
Newfangled technologies.
Yeah.
Speaking of newfangled technologies.
And before we start, can we someone please apologise for the reason that we're 10 minutes late?
Yeah, that's me. Well, I'm so sorry. I got a phone call.
At least you're alive, AJ. Well, that we were worried.
No.
Yeah, Ben and I actually said, how do you maybe his wife killed him. How do you think he's done it? She's done it. That's what I said to I text that to Ben.
And I said, I think he's been, clobbered to death with a junior CL bobblehead in the pantry.
In the pantry,
mate, style.
Mate, perfect scenario. AJ and his bobbleheads and his bloody fluffy toys, and a pantry.
Yeah.
If you want to find AJ, there's a good chance he's in the pantry.
Oh, there's a good chance I'm in the pantry. That is so unkind. All of that is an interesting segue to, because we have a movie night every Saturday night, and it's a good chance to show the kids. Sometimes it's kind of crap, and sometimes it's a chance to kind of, especially as they get older, chance to show them stuff that is, stuff they haven't seen. Right?
Is this like a long storied apology?
No, it isn't. It isn't an apology at all. So, and what we showed them tonight was The Gods Must Be Crazy.
Oh, with the Coke bottle.
With the Coke bottle, see? With the Coke bottle. But the interesting thing is, because you were talking about newfangled technology, because that movie, now, I don't know, there might be some people who are listening to this that are just like, what on earth is that? And it was 1980. That movie was huge. That was in the cinemas for like 6 months.
Was it 1980?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was 41 years ago.
Yes. It was made on such a, it was made on a shoestring budget.
But they paid the actor, what did they pay him? Nothing. That probably gave him some.
The Bushman guy.
And, yeah.
Probably nothing. It was probably quite exploitative for him, but
bit like the Borat with his sister in whatever country that was in that sued him later. She had no idea.
Sister.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's filmed. I think it was filmed in South Africa, but it's Africa anyway. But I remember the bit where the guy.
Are you tracing your roots?
No, I'm not tracing my roots. I remember the bit where the guy winches the car up the tree.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen it. I know about the bottle that they get thrown out the plane and hits the guy. It hits him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, it just falls down.
Well,
when they
falls down next to him.
They fight with it, and the bottle gets hit. Little kid clocks another little kid with the bottle over the head.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
And while we're on movies, I went and saw the new James Bond flick because we don't want to spend too much. Yeah. 3 out of 10.
3.
Is that for the 3 hour running time? Gee.
Yeah. Yeah. You get one vote for every hour it was on. Mate, could have. Yeah, it was just.
Why? Why 3?
There were elements of it that took me back to the old James Bond movie with gadgets, and it just at times seemed a bit corny. And I thought that the new Bond movies have sort of got away from corniness a little bit, even though it wasn't so obvious corny as like the older movies. Yeah, like the Pierce Brosnans and who's that other dude? The Shakespearean actor. It was terrible.
Dalton.
Dalton?
Yeah,
Timothy Dalton?
Timothy Dalton. Yeah.
He was a shocker.
It was the worst one of the Daniel Craig movies.
Was it?
So that's just my opinion, though. Yeah, it went way too long. Way too long. Didn't need to go that long. Yeah.
Let's not trash Timothy Dalton. There's some cracking one-liners in his films. That's the only reason to watch them, just for the one-liners.
Yeah, they're all corny one-liners.
And probably wouldn't be allowed in today's day and age, some of them, for sure.
No.
Oh, really?
No,
yeah.
And I thought, just go and see it if you want to go and see it. But, I could, if I had a choice again and I knew I was in for it, I'd probably spend 3 hours, I don't know,
watching something else.
Getting waxed.
Getting waxed?
Yeah. Far more pleasurable.
Is waxing pleasurable?
No, that's the whole point.
Oh, I see. That's the point you're trying to make. I see.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Do we have some news? Let's get on to football.
Well, man.
Slow week compared to last week.
I know. I was going to say, what do we talk about? Well, the Falcons were awful. And, I hate to raise it with you, but I sort of feel like that if they probably haven't been at this point. If it isn't more obvious now that what they need to do is tear it all down, it's completely obvious. Because they don't have too many talented players on the roster anymore.
They have some talent.
Yes.
Some.
Not enough. Yeah, not enough.
Maybe the amount of words in the word, the letters in the word some probably would sum it up using the other some. It's just it's just time to start again. But I don't think they ever thought they didn't have to rip it down and start again, probably.
Yep.
To be honest.
Yes.
I think as a Falcons fan, we have a long road ahead. A long road.
I'm not sure I'd like to hear the last time that a team had 3 quarterbacks in one game who all threw an interception.
Interceptions?
I thought that was pretty. That actually made me quite enjoyable the last 10 minutes. Like it was the most enjoyable just seeing that craziness.
Was it Josh Rosen's first pass?
No, it was the other guy. Frank, is it?
Frank's.
That was his.
Yeah.
But Josh Rosen's
interception. That was one where he threw it 10 yards in the middle of the field, and he threw it straight to a, I don't know, was it a linebacker he threw to? I don't remember.
It was Kyle Van Noy.
It was Kyle. Mate, he was just standing there.
And he was looking straight at him as well.
Yeah.
He was looking straight at him. I was like, it's almost intentional. Like it looked like it was some kind of sabotage or, But I went. Can you believe that Josh Rosen has now appeared in 3 games this season? His line, yes, and his line is 2 completions of 13 attempts for 42 yards and 2 interceptions. I mean, that's unbelievable, really.
Oh my goodness!
How were people so wrong on Josh Rosen? Oh, look, not everybody was wrong, obviously, because some. There were people out there that didn't think he was that great.
In fairness, a lot of people were wrong on Josh Rosen.
Okay.
Because even the people who didn't think he was that great, they didn't probably think he was going to be a bust. They probably just said, we don't think he's as good, say, as... What class was that? Who did he come out with?
He came out with Colin Murray.
Yeah, 2019.
Did he?
19?
Yeah, it was only a couple of years ago. It's only 3 years, 2 years. Jeez.
Yeah, it might have been 18. 18.
When you get to my age, you can start using the old memory.
He didn't. Murray was the year after Rosen because Rosen was.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, he was replaced by Murray. So it would have been with. Oh, that's a good question.
Who was in that quarterback class? Hang on, Google. Josh.
That's a very good point. Yeah, Kyler Murray was the reason that they.
Yeah.
Got it.
That looks like a pretty good decision, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Remember how critical we were of it at the time? We were like, man, how can they be jumping ship on Rosen so fast?
It was the same draft as Mayfield.
Oh,
Mayfield went 1, Allen went 7, Darnold went 3, and Rosen went 10.
Okay.
Oh, Darnold. Yeah. It's the Darnold draft. Okay.
It's the Darnold draft. Yeah.
Man, Darnold. Oh. Man, we thought Sam Darnold might have been doing like a Ryan Tannehill, but that's a little bit in doubt at this stage.
Yeah.
Yes.
As well.
The one thing I will say about the Falcons game was in the second half, the defense played pretty well, but Mac Jones struggled in the second half, which was interesting because he was very good in the first half. And then the Falcons made some adjustments, took away the middle of the field pretty much. And he really struggled to adapt. And you saw how even he was frustrated. I think, it was only, I think, 13-0 going into the fourth quarter. It wasn't, it wasn't like a blowout or anything like that. And a defensive.
And we had plenty of chances to make it closer. You'd know the Falcons are in a world of pain when their defense is better than their offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very un-Falcons, isn't it?
It is very un-Falcons.
An interesting stat, and I'll see if I can get this right off the top of my head. Mac Jones, I think, has more touchdowns than the other 4 rookie quarterbacks combined. And we sort of had a sense of this, didn't we, that Mac Jones might be the best out of the gate. But what are we thinking of Mac Jones's place in this rookie class?
Did we really think that though? I don't know if I really thought that. I actually thought Justin Fields, once he got going, he'd be from what we saw in preseason.
Yeah, preseason.
Well, he looks fun.
He looks better. Yeah, now he's sort of got his feet underneath him. A different guy than we saw in when he first stepped on the field in a regular season game. Without a doubt. But I'm still interested to see the whole Trey Lance quarterback.
I mean, Jimmy G, the last 4 weeks, he's like the 3rd top scoring quarterback in fantasy. Like he's really been fantastic. Yeah, like you just don't realize that. The only thing I'll say about Jones is as well.
So is that how Kyle Shanahan starting QB? He looks at the fantasy numbers and goes, "Mate, you got to start him. 3rd best quarterback in fantasy."
There you go.
Must be.
Well, I figure if you're doing well in fantasy, you must be doing well in real football. Sometimes it's not always the case.
Jalen Hurts better the last couple of weeks.
He has been better, but it was a low bar. I mean, he set a pretty low bar for himself.
Yeah.
Hey, what in 5 years' time? The 5 rookie quarterbacks, the one thing that I will say about them moving forward is I think Mac Jones is still going to be around. Like he looks good enough to be someone now. I think he's kind of shown that. Whether he's at the end product is like an average guy, like a QB2, a fantasy QB2, perennial QB2, which is fine. Or whether he will kind of climb the heights, I don't know. But he'll be in there. But what do you reckon? The 5 guys in 5 years' time. It'd be fascinating to jump ahead and just sort of see. But what's your feeling?
Well, it's interesting because we always think that quarterbacks that go in the first round are going to be around for a while. But that's not the truth. Like, even if you look at that 2018 draft, like Rosen, let's say, he's pretty much gone, yeah?
Yeah,
Mayfield.
He's in a world of pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
mate, he's basically. I reckon I'm not a Browns fan, so I'm not over it as much. But from what I watch, mate, his feet are going pretty quick underneath the water, trying to keep his job.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't say that he's going to be out of the league, but you would probably say that he's going to be tough to get a big lucrative contract based on how he's playing, right?
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't give it to him.
Yeah.
Be wasting your money.
Darnold, probably
no
chance. Josh Allen, yes, you would say that he will, but it'd be interesting maybe in 5 years' time, when the legs get a bit slower and that kind of run game that he is so good at drops off. Will he be able to adapt and sustain his level? I mean, you would say yes at the minute, but the only other one from that draft is Lamar Jackson, who went with the last pick in the first round. Yep. I mean, it's funny because you're not worried about him from can he throw it 30 times a game and put up 300 yards, because he's so much more than that.
Mm. So are you talking about that draft, are you? Or are you talking about
so like that draft. No, that draft. So there's only really two there, Allen and Jackson.
Yes.
That you would think have at least another 4.
That's a pretty good two. But I think the stats are generally like there's a 50-50 shot, roughly speaking, right? Isn't that about the stat of a first round pick anyway? We're thinking of quarterbacks, it's like 50-50. And so it'd probably be quite unusual for the 5 rookies to all be successful and all still be in the league in 5 years' time, right?
This year's rookies?
Yeah.
Okay. Who would still be around? I think Matt Jones got the intelligence level to stay around.
I think so too. So he's one.
I think Justin Fields has a little bit of both.
Yep.
The other 3, I think, are going to struggle. I mean, Zach Wilson.
I think Zach Wilson's in it. I think he just hasn't, and I've said this from the start. I think we spoke about this on the pod. I just don't think he's caught onto the speed of NFL football.
Not yet.
No, and he might. It just might be one of those things you just never get a grip on.
He may not.
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance is a big question mark. I think we can't really.
We don't know.
Answer that question. Yeah.
Yeah. And Trevor Lawrence. Well, Trevor Lawrence has got a lot working against him, hasn't he? In his own football club.
Well, he's certainly not going to have a ideal start to his career, right? Because, I mean, Urban Meyers continues to kind of stick around. Who knows? He might stick around next year. Maybe he'll still be there, or maybe he'll be gone.
I think the thing with Lawrence is every week you see a handful of really high level throws, top quality throws, not just the same throw either, like deep ones, short ones, sideline throws, touch passes. You feel like he is going to develop. But is the situation right for him to develop the way that he needs to?
And you see a handful of those throws that, mate, you get away with them in college football when you've got the best receivers against, guys that are never going to make it. Mate, you can't do that in this league, dude. You're throwing against corners, and the reason they're in the NFL for, because they're bloody good at what they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's got to get that sort of mentality out of his brain. And look, we've seen Patrick Mahomes change, like last game, which we spoke about how many times with CEH. We've spoke about instead of throwing the ball down the field for 30 yards through a tight window, if you dump it off to CEH, he's got 15 yards of clear space in front of him before someone even gets there. And now they've realised that with Darrell Williams.
Yeah,
Darryl?
a lot of people. Darryl.
I get Darryl. Darryl. Yeah, Damien went to Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah, and look what happened. 100 yards receiving last week.
I know.
Just short, dump off. Beautiful.
Whatever you think of CEH, I mean, I think that's the thing that people don't take into account is the fact that they're not looking for him. And you see him open in the backfield a lot.
Yeah, she's standing there waiting. Yeah, got 15 yards in front of me.
Yeah.
He's actually put look at all this space.
And instead of that, Paddy's going to force it down, force a long one to Tyreek or force it to Mecole or someone, and it'll be incomplete. And yet they could have, as you said, they could have had a first down.
Yeah. And so, it looked like last week maybe he's turned the corner on that. Maybe it's something.
Maybe.
Maybe. And maybe his brother stopped doing TikTok.
Yep.
Move to the Colts and Fusion McCain. Why not?
Who knows?
I know.
Who knows?
Yeah, Peyton, his first year wasn't great.
No. Well, that's right.
And he ended up being okay.
Danny, we'll call you Danny Ocean, G. You're putting the team together.
We are putting the team together. Yes. So what we're doing this week is we're going to put together week 11. We have 11 players on offense. So we're going to sit down as a group. AJ is the owner of this franchise.
Yep.
I am what am I? Team manager.
Silent partner, G. Silent partner, we said.
You're the GM.
I'm the GM, general manager, and Benny's the coach because he's the only one with actual coaching experience in real life.
He's got a hat.
And he's got a hat on. I did coach my son's basketball team for 2 weeks to one-on-one, 500%, and then quit.
You quit?
No, the coach actually came back. So I didn't even turn up to the game today. That's how much they wanted me around again. So what
the only problem I've got, G, here is obviously with being the coach when I'm trying to call my player here. I just don't know if you're going to be able to hear me, because I'm going to have to call it, like this on the sideline so that I can call, who I want. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. So what we're going to do, put together 11. So our offensive line we're not going to pick individual offensive linemen. We're going to take a team's offensive line that we want. And then we're going to have a quarterback, a running back, obviously, tight end.
This week, mind you.
Just for this week. This is the team put together, and we're all going to agree on this team.
Yes.
And then 3 wide receivers. So we've got our 2 outside guys in the slot.
Yep.
So AJ, you're the owner. Who do we put it? Do I put out who I want because I'm?
Well, no, we
can
go. Why don't we go from position by position?
Okay. So what's the position we look at first? Do we look at the offensive line first, or do we get the quarterback?
I think we do look at the offensive line because
that
does potentially have an insight into the players that we might take at the other positions. Particularly say if an offensive line has a really good run block, rating or whatever. So I think offensive line sounds good. And Jim, I actually chose them by position, but 3 of them are from the same team. So I'm gonna go with that one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, because I don't know enough about offensive line, so I had to go and do some research, obviously, because it's just one of those things when they're doing the job, you don't notice them, and when they're not doing the job, then you notice because the quarterback's getting killed. So look, the offensive line that I've written down here that I'll put up first is Tampa Bay, for the fact that all 5 of them have started every game, so the stability's there. Granted, they have a quarterback that gets rid of the ball very quickly, so that always helps. They have a PPF grading. No lineman is under 68%, which is really good. Like every one of them. The line has only given up no more than 15 pressures in a single game. So that's the 3rd lowest in the NFL, and it's only 24.9% of Brady's dropbacks. Is he getting any pressure? Tristan Wirfs being the best. He's only giving up on average 1 pressure per game.
Amazing.
Brady's only been sacked 12 times for the season, which is the equal 2nd best of any starting QB. The only one who's of a regular starting QB. There's a lot of other guys that haven't played enough games to get a total up, but the only one better is Dak Prescott with 11.
Yep.
And the other one is actually Cousins with 12 as well. So I put up because I want to protect my QB. My QB, which you'll find out, can do a lot of things, but giving him time to throw is one of the things I want him to have. And when it breaks down, he can move out of the pocket. So I put up Tampa Bay. We'll go to Ben because in the end, you got to sign the check, AJ. You might not be happy with who we have.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Well,
so we're trying to sell it to you, really, aren't we? Because you're the money man. Ben and I are trying to sell our team to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I looked hard at Tampa Bay, but at the end of the day, I also looked at the matchups this week as well, and the Dallas against Kansas City sounds very spicy indeed, and everybody's going to be watching this one, I think. So, and you mentioned, Dak Prescott only pressured 11 times. So for me, the Cowboys' offensive line, I mean, it's littered with guys that have literally been there for the past 5 or 6 years, just dominating. Two in particular that I'll mention, probably the best left tackle in the league, Tyrone Smith, a 92.2 pass blocking grade, and also an 87.3 run blocking grade. Both of those are third in the league. We can see what Zeke can do and Pollard can do on the ground. The Cowboys are also, they're fifth in passing yards. So, and that's with, Dak obviously missing a game or so. So, look, I just feel like what you're getting from that Dallas offensive line. A great matchup against the Chiefs. Could be a very high-scoring game. So, you just feel like Dak's going to get a lot of opportunity to throw the ball, and hopefully Dallas gets up big.
So one less to his number one receiver, or probably his number two receiver, really, who's out this week.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it was a difficult one to judge last week because, the Cowboys went up big early. But, that's not going to happen. It's going to be a game right to the end. So you just feel like the Chiefs, I mean, as much as the defense has improved probably behind the defensive line's still been pretty poor. Chris Jones has been moved around a bit. He is back now where he should be. But really, Frank Clark hasn't been the guy this year that he was last year. And when you start thinking about who else stands out for the Chiefs, you're struggling. The rookie Nick Bolton's played a lot at linebacker and has racked up the tackles. But that's because the defensive line's been poor. And I mean, ex-Viking Mike Hughes is a bit of a liability at cornerback. Teams are going after him. So yeah, I just feel like there's all the good things here for Dak to have a field day, and the offensive line's just going to dominate.
Okay, you're kind of talking about Dak a lot. You're conflating two things, because my pick was the Tampa Bay offensive line because, and
one for the GM.
Collusion.
Because the other thing that, and apologies, G, if you didn't mention this, but the amount of rushing yards also coming through that Tampa Bay, like they are pass blocking and run blocking brilliantly.
Yeah, but if you go and have a look at Leonard Fournette's like yards before contact, he's quite low. I think he's in the 20. He's only 2.4 yards a carry. There's a ton of guys above him. Like, mate, there's not a big difference with everybody above him. Like, it might be half a yard, but still half a yard. But I looked at that thinking, well, as a run blocking unit, how are they doing? But that's Leonard Fournette's bread and butter, isn't it? Break contact.
Yeah.
He's not an open field runner. Let's put it that way. Okay.
And the other thing that might be a bit of a tiebreaker, and I yes, you do raise a very good point about Kansas City defense, which is playing very badly. The Bucks are up against the Giants, and their defense is average. It's average. They're giving up, 250 yards in the air and 1.8 touchdown passes a game. So, that defense is, it's beatable. And they're not, they're not necessarily getting a whole lot of pressure on the quarterback.
So you're signing the check, mate. So what are you saying?
It's the Bucks. It's the Bucks O-line we're going with.
This is going to come down to very quite an interesting conversation. Is do you hire the coach first or do you hire the GM first? Who runs the team really? You hire the GM first. That is. So you better take note of what the GM says. Okay. So
all I'll say before we go on, this is definitely not a 49ers situation where the coach could pick the GM. Let's put it that way.
Or what the Raiders had going on, where he's just like a storefront dummy, basically. Just rolling out.
And G, am I right in thinking you're going to come up with some kind of scoring system for the offensive line this week?
Oh, how?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that. I don't know what I'm gonna come up with. So if you got any ideas, let me know. Just to keep the scoring going. But we're all gonna end up with the same. Well,
yeah, it would be good to. It would just be good to check off the Cowboys offensive line against the Tampa Rams.
Okay,
it's probably not. It's probably not a reach to think that at some point fantasy will include O-linemen. You think of it like on the defensive side, you've got all 11 players. If you're playing IDP, you can roster every player that's on a defense. But on the offense, you're only there's 5 guys that you can't roster.
Yeah, so it'll come down to when they work out a scoring system. I probably a bit like, the reason they don't allow marijuana to be legal is, they haven't worked out how to tax it yet.
Right. Yeah.
So it'll be the same.
Maybe you start. You know how they score defenses? In NFL on NFL.com.
That's the worst way of scoring. It's ridiculous.
You get 10 points,
and just keep losing points.
The opposition will kick a field goal. Oops! Oh, my points just went down to 8. Or you get a sack and
it's just I don't like how it works. But
there's enough metrics now, like pressures and QB hits and things like that, where you could come up with an acceptable scoring system.
It's sort of going to be a negative scoring system.
Maybe G will come up with that and sell it to the NFL.
There we go. Mate, if they keep running their NFL fantasy site the way they do, I don't think they're going to listen to anybody. It's terrible.
Now listen, the most important position on the field.
Yes. So we've got our offensive line, and they're protecting and they're protecting this guy, which is our quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've gone out, done a bit of scouting, and I actually had 2 guys that I had down, but I ended up going with Josh Allen against the Colts this week, and this is the reason why. The Colts are ranked 26th against QB, 27th against wide receiver, 27th against tight end. This is what the Colts have come up against, good quality QBs this year. Lamar Jackson, 442 yards, 4 TDs. Oof. Matt Stafford, 278 yards, 2 TDs, only on 30 attempts. Russell Wilson, 254 yards, 4 TDs. Oof. Ryan Tannehill, 462 yards, 6 TDs. Mate, Josh Johnson, when he started for the Jets, 317 yards, 3 TDs. I think even Davis Mills had a good game. Now, the QBs that they've been good against, Jimmy G, when Jimmy G wasn't playing well, Trevor Lawrence and Jacoby Brissett in total went for 542 yards and 3 TDs.
Okay.
So not only is Josh Allen coming up against the Colts defense that can't stop good quality quarterbacks, they can't stop any wide receivers, no tight ends. He's going to give you points with his legs. The only thing we've got going, we've lost our right tackle in Spencer Brown this week for COVID. But then again, he's only started 4 games all season anyway. But he is still a loss. So that is my argument for Josh Allen this week.
Very nice.
Nice. Look, I'm going to go with the second top scoring fantasy QB over the last 4 weeks. He has lost his star running back, yet he's still in those 2 games knocked off the Rams and knocked off the Saints. In the 4 games before that, they knocked off the Bills and the Chiefs in that run as well. They're on a 6-game win streak. It's Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans. This week, they get Houston. I mean, come on. Like the last time, every week we watch Houston and we just marvel at how terrible they are. Do the Falcons play the Texans this year? God, that will be a game to watch. But
you watch it, and it ended up being like a 42-47 game. That's what it ended up being.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a classic.
So 77 fantasy points over his last 4 games compared to Josh Allen's 62. Just throw that in there. The matchup is positive. We know that we don't have Derrick Henry anymore. So we've also lost Julio Jones. But we've seen AJ Brown, fantastic over the last few weeks. They've got a solid roster there that are always going to produce points. And the thing that G mentioned about Josh Allen on the ground, let's say that about Ryan Tannehill as well. At the end of the day, he is their best option in the red zone right now. If they get to the goal line.
So he's throwing the ball to AJ Brown.
That's it.
So I'm pausing because I'm waiting for that.
Tight end streamer Michael Pruitt, 3 TDs in the last 4 games. He's getting the best out of that roster. You can't argue about that. And you just feel against Houston, this is going to be, we talk about O-lines. I mean, let's talk about the Titans. They're fantastic. Taylor Lewan back from a bit of a layoff helps the passing element to Tannehill. And I just feel like, let's look at the last 6 weeks. They won all 6 games. Tannehill's been crucial in all of them. And he loses his star running back and he still knocks off, the Saints and the Rams. So,
okay,
Tannehill for me.
Right.
Okay. Jerry, AJ, who have you got down? Who you can
maybe he's got somebody else.
He might have somebody else.
There's a big guy here who's threw 5 touchdowns last week.
Well, I'm a little surprised that after your sell in the first part, Ben, that you didn't actually put up Dak Prescott, and that's who I had written down.
Yep.
And your argument for Josh Allen, G, is compelling, and I'd be happy with either of Dak or Josh, to be honest.
There's this other guy. To the owner, can I put somebody else to the owner?
Yeah,
go ahead. Tom Brady.
Yeah,
let's just say, at home, in 4 games he's played, he's thrown 1,277 yards and 18 touchdowns.
Oh, when I wrote down the Tampa Bay O-line, I was actually kind of thinking of Tom Brady. But then, I thought, look, I can do even a bit better. But honestly, he's in the conversation for MVP.
Yes.
So it's hard to say, can you do better? It's just that I think Dak, and they're at Kansas City. The Chiefs have been up and down, but I think they've got their mojo back to a large extent, and this game could be an absolute shootout. And I think, Dak is going to get 300 yards and 3 touchdowns probably as a floor.
So the owner's overriding the GM.
No, not necessarily.
Well,
I'm just saying,
you got to make a decision. You're the owner. You're writing the checks, mate. Who's our quarterback?
Well, then it's
Is that my agent? Yeah, look, they're not giving me the guys I need here. I need to get out of this place. It's just not working.
I'll look after you. You see, we'll bring someone to the table for running back. Look. I like Tannehill a lot, but
hey, Chucky, we got a positioning open up. Do you want it? Mate, I won't read your emails, promise. All right, okay. Speak soon.
Well, I would honestly, be happy with Josh Allen or Dak Prescott. If I've got to make the call, then I will make the call and say it's Dak. Then it's
Prescott.
Dak.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did look at Dak, but
Dak was my number 2, so I'm more than happy with that.
Okay.
To be honest, with what you said first up,
I'm going to put owner's pick in brackets.
Yeah.
Owner's pick.
All right.
Okay. So next position we have to fill is our running back position.
Who's
toting the rock. So this week I'll start. Okay, the GM's gone out, scouted again. And I've come up with the guy who's playing against the Lions this week, who are ranked 30th against RBs, giving up almost 29 fantasy points. And that's come off the COVID list. He's all ready to go. And that's Nikki Chubb. So let's put that with a QB that for the entire season so far is not even throwing 2,000 yards yet and only 9 TDs. They're going to run the ball. He's playing injured. They've got a poor passing game. In the last 2 weeks, he's only completed 25 passes. Last week's route of 45-7, mate, he was 21 for 11 for 73 yards and 1 TD, 1 interception before he was replaced, basically. And it looks like he's going to start again this week, Baker Mayfield, which is beyond me why you'd even do it with a healthy Case Keenum sitting there. So what Nick Chubb has done against the top 10 poorest run defenses, which the Lions are the 30th, so the 30th, the third worst. That's right, third worst? Yeah, third worst. At number 28, the Bengals, he went for 137 yards and 2 TDs at 9.8 yards a clip. The Chargers, who are 26th in the top 10, 161 yards, 1 TD, 7.7 a clip. The Vikings, who are the 10th worst, ranked at 22, he went for 100 yards and a TD, and he only ran at 4.8. Very poor running day that day for Chubb. And the other one is Houston Texans, who are 1 spot worse than the Vikings. And on 11 carries, he went for 95 yards and 1 TD at 8.6 yards a clip. So how do you go against a guy that's done that against the 4 teams he's played this year in the top 10 worst run defenses, and he's playing the 3rd worst this week in the Lions, and with no one else basically to help him out? Ernest Johnson is still there, but he's just going to be give him a breather. This is all going to be Nick Chubb.
He'll play the Kareem Hunt role.
He will.
Yes.
And maybe not even as much as Kareem Hunt.
Maybe not. No. Ben.
Are you finished, G?
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to put up numbers. I want to put up numbers because those numbers are big.
They dazzle.
Those numbers are big.
They're like college numbers. And he's doing it in the NFL.
So over the last month, this running back, the top 3 running backs fantasy points in the last month, okay? The top 3. Third with 65.4 fantasy points. From the New York Jets, Michael Carter Jr.
Oof. Wow.
Second.
Yeah, you're going to start Michael Carter over Nick Chubb. Yep, okay.
No. Second, 78.3 fantasy points. James Conner, Arizona Cardinals. Right?
Yep.
So the guy I'm going to go with is the number 1 running back over the last 4 weeks with 90.8 fantasy points. He is now the lead rusher across the NFL even eclipsed Derrick Henry. Jonathan Taylor from the Indianapolis Colts has a tough matchup. Not gonna lie, he's playing the Buffalo Bills. However, the last time he had a tough matchup, which all running backs get tough matchups against the San Francisco 49ers, he still put up 145 yards with a touchdown. He has gone for over 100 yards in 4 of the last 5 games. He has 8 touchdowns in the last 5 games. I just don't know how you can look past the guy who leads in the NFL in rushing attempts, and in the last 4 weeks is 74 rushing attempts. Jonathan Taylor.
I tell you how you go past him. You go to Najee Harris because Jonathan Taylor playing against the Buffalo defense, right?
Yeah.
Now, I know, look, Jonathan Taylor has been very, very impressive, and there's no doubt, but he's going up against, what are they in terms of rush defense? If they're not number 1, they're in the top 3. What are they?
No idea. They have to be. They have to be in the top 3.
Their pass defense is the best. I know their pass defense is best in league.
Mate, Tremaine Edmonds.
They're fifth in
rush defense. Is he not the freakiest looking linebacker you've ever seen?
Yeah, he's very long.
Oh, he just... it's like watching when I used to watch Derrick Henry play high school football. That's what it looks like. He looks like... Do you know who he reminds me of? Predator. You know the Predator? You know the movie Predator? That's what he reminds me of, like the size and the height. He's just 2 foot taller than everybody else around him, long arms, just athletic looking, just freaky. Just freaky.
Yeah.
Sorry, go. I went down rabbit hole.
Yeah, anyway, look, we need to come to consensus, but Najee Harris, so Pittsburgh, now they may not have Ben Roethlisberger under center, which might be even more reason.
Chucky, you know that spot was available? Mate, don't worry because I'm getting out as well. I've got this feeling he's going to make another pick. Yeah.
No. I won't force another pick on you. Listen, let me just do the pitch and then we can discuss it because Najee, listen, the Steelers are playing the Chargers this week.
Yeah, I looked at Harris, AJ, I did.
They can't stop anybody. And this is going to, no matter whether Ben is under center or not, the rushing game is going to be the focus. And Najee Harris, he's on pace for more than 400 touches. He's going to get 25 at least. Yeah. So it's volume, but the guy is also very, very impressive. There's no doubt there. But look, it's not going to be hard to be impressive against the Chargers D. We cannot stop anybody. So that's like the large part of my argument is the defense that he's playing against. But Jonathan Taylor is very, very impressive. It's just Buffalo that gives me a big lot of pause. So what do you reckon?
So, whose name's going on the check?
Well, no, my name goes on the check, but...
no, we're going to make it out to somebody.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to make an executive decision because, my name goes on the check. I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor because I think that Ben made a very good argument. And and also Jonathan Taylor. Look, Najee Harris is probably not far behind him.
Tell him I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'm staying.
Jonathan Taylor can make a strong argument for the best running back in the league right now, and Najee Harris is not far behind him. Interestingly, none of us picked CMC, and he's got a good matchup this week as well against Washington.
Terrible. My argument for a guy that's run against the 4 worst run defenses has gone for 493 yards and 5 TDs.
Right.
That didn't sell you. And he's actually played the worst run defense out of all of them.
Yeah, okay. No sour grapes. Anyway, we made the decision. I've made the decision. Is there a worry that the Browns are up by
30 points at halftime. And
they're up by 30 points because
Johnson.
Because Chucky's run 3 of them in.
That's right.
Yeah, he is. Okay, so we're going to move across to our wide receivers now. So this is going to get wide open because there is a ton of wide receivers. Yeah. Okay, so we'll start with our number one guy, and we can't look past this guy. Up against the Cowboys this week, it could be an absolute shootout. How do you not start him? Because you just can't, because you're afraid that if you do, for some ridiculous reason, he's going to put up 2 TDs and, 150 yards. So Ben Schrager, NFL Network host, I saw this come up on the computer. He came up with Tyreek Hill is 4th in scrimmage yards, 3rd in touchdowns, and 2nd in 25-plus yard receptions in NFL history.
Wow. Okay.
So you have to start this guy because this is the guy, mate. He's back last week. Hopefully the offense is now rolling. It could be a really high-scoring game. He's 2nd in fantasy points with 212. He's not that far behind Cooper Kupp, who everybody is, is lighting it up. He's already gone for 855 yards at the halfway, 8 TDs. He could easily, mate, if he accelerates a little bit and gets rid of those bags, he could go close to 2,000 yards. So I don't think you can leave Tyreek Hill out of your lineup. Just field stretcher. He just
hasn't gone for over 100 yards since week 5. His 2 touchdowns last week doubled his touchdown total since week 5.
But that's not just him. That's the whole effort. So I put a lot more of that on the way that Patty Mahomes has been playing more than on Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Just thought I'd point it out to our own.
Yeah, no, that's all right. To your own. Yeah.
But so I think I'm going to go. Interestingly enough, G's call was Josh Allen, and his number one target is Stephon Diggs, who is coming off a week where he had caught 8 balls for 162 yards and a TD.
You don't want the quarterback, but you want the wide receiver.
Yeah, well, he has got. He's got the Colts this week. They're giving up the 5th most fantasy points to wide receiver. Absolute, wasteland that's in the secondary at the minute, really struggling. So, I think here what we've got is a clear kind of Josh Allen is going to target him again after a few rough weeks for the Bills, where obviously they lost to Jacksonville. They just got back to what they're good at last week, and that was targeting guys like Diggs, like Beasley over the middle, and just wearing people down. So look, with that matchup against the Colts, I just feel like Diggs is gonna go off, and I think he had a disappointing start to the season, but watching football over the last couple of weeks has been. I've kind of had this little epiphany of like, you get to this point in the season where, God, the good guys are good. Like the top guys at their game, in these weeks really start to show. Like, they're consistent. They're the guys that teams go to just get over the line. And then I'd argue there's Diggs is a top 5 outside receiver at the minute.
Well, especially in the second half of the NFL season. In the first half, sometimes it just, you see a bit of flukiness, and sometimes guys take a bit of time just to kind of settle in. Now, just a rules clarification. Are we picking 2?
2 outside guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a slot.
Yeah, I know, but because I actually had Stephon Diggs.
Pick these 2?
I had Stephon Diggs, but I quite like the idea of Hill and Diggs as the two guys?
Well, okay. Well, my second guy is playing against the Giants this week with a quarterback that's thrown, how many touchdowns did I say? 18 in his home games, in 4 home games. And he is going for the all-time TD record for Tampa Bay.
Is he?
Which is held by Mike Allstott of 71. And we all know Brady, or all quarterbacks, they love a record, don't they?
Yes.
And Brady's the type of guy, he's a really team player. He's going to help somebody else get a record. And Mike Evans this week at home, he's going to get at least one TD.
Right.
Now, with the exception of week 1, Mike Evans in Tampa Bay. Week 2, 75 yards and 2 TDs. Week 5, 113 yards and 2 TDs. Week 7, 76 yards and 3 TDs. Away from home, he's only scored 2 in 5 games. But at home, he's been a touchdown monster. And I think, put on top of the fact that he's going for a record, Tom Brady is going to look for Mike. He's not just going to give him one. He's going to make sure that he has at least increased that record. So I'm looking for 2 TDs this week to Mike Evans.
So are we saying like a true sort of, well, Mike Evans is the number 1 receiver in Tampa anyway, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. He is.
So how are we differentiating between the first pick you made and the second pick?
Why? We need 2 outside guys. What's the difference?
I know, but why couldn't you have just? Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I've got a 6'5" guy.
Yeah.
That go up and get the ball, and I've got absolute speed on the other side.
Yeah, that's true.
AJ, why don't you tell us? So you had Diggs. Why don't you tell us about your second guy, and then I've got one more that I'll throw in late. But why don't you tell us about that second guy, and we'll choose 2 from all.
Well, I would be tempted to go for CD Lamb.
No, on the outside.
Oh, okay. All right,
No,
on the outside.
He's playing everywhere. I mean,
yeah, he's playing everywhere.
Oh yeah, well, true.
So
true. Okay. Well,
just remember who you pay more money to. Do you pay more money to the GM or do you pay more money to the coach?
Whose emails do you trust, AJ?
No one's. Don't trust anyone's emails.
Well, I don't send emails, but just don't look at my browser history.
No, Ben, you tell me who you've got for your second one.
Well, look, I wanted to throw a rookie in, and this guy has 3 TDs over his last 2 weeks, catching nine catches from 12, 182 yards, has got a great chemistry with his quarterback, has a plus matchup against the Saints, who are giving up the 6th most fantasy points to receivers.
You've gone in a different direction.
Devonta Smith from the Philadelphia Eagles. I just think that over the last 2 weeks, like Nick Sirianni, whatever he's done, he has changed the focus of this offense. And so they've had 7 trips into the red zone in the last 2 weeks. And Devonta Smith has had targets on 6 of those 7.
But I looked at this guy too, and then you said somebody else's name.
Oh, really?
Yes. I thought you were talking about Jamar Chase. I thought you were talking about Jamar Chase.
I thought you were talking about Jamar Chase as well.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Devonta Smith. Yeah, I just thought, somebody a bit different there as a second and has a good matchup and seems to be, an immediate guy. So, the team is just going to keep going to him now for the rest of the year.
Okay, so you got 2 smaller guys on the outside, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay, that makes it tough. I love the Mike Evans pick. I love that. And it does go well with Tyreek, but that'd be giving you 2 picks, G. I don't know if I want to do that.
See, my team's sort of diverse. I have players that can do, have different roles.
Yeah.
Ben's are all the same. They're just the same bloke, just in different uniforms.
But I love the Mike Evans pick, and I think he is so criminally underrated. But yes, he can, as you pointed out, Ben, he can do this a bit. But
he's at home, and it's
the
all
week that
let's remember last week where did we forget how the Bucks played last week? Have you guys just are you?
Yeah, but he still scored a touchdown even in a bad week. He still put
true.
You know, he put up a TD.
He had 2 catches for 13 yards before that touchdown.
Yeah, and he might only have 2 catches. He might only have 2 catches this coming week, and both touchdowns for 100 yards, 70 yards, 80 yards.
You've still got AB and Gronk out, I believe, as well.
It feels AJ. Let me make a. It feels like what G's asking you to do here with Mike Evans is he's holding you at the roulette table, and he's red or black. Put it all on red or black. Choose one, because it could go and it could go.
Yes.
Sure. But that's the thing that I like about Mike Evans. You see, you can balance Mike Evans with a slot guy that's going to give you a really high floor. And then Evans, what he can do is he can win you a week. Evans can win you a week on his own.
So does the GM get his guy?
Yeah, Evans. Yeah, you get Evans.
And who's playing on the other side of him?
Well, and I know you're talking about apples and oranges, but I'm going to go put Stephon Diggs in there. He was my pick, so I'm going to put Stephon Diggs. But Tyreek is an excellent pick, and I get the argument you make about, 2 different ways to attack a defense. But Stephon Diggs, and especially against Indy this week, ooh boy, he is going to have a day.
Okay, no problems. Okay, so now we go to our third wide receiver, a guy that plays in the slot. Mm-hmm. And I think Ben and I pretty much, I think you're going to have to pick him because we both have the same bloke. I know we do, because it's, mate, how do you not go past Deebo Samuel?
How do you not? Yeah.
Mate, he's so versatile. We can put him in, we can go wildcat with him. We can do so much with him. Jet sweeps, you name it. And the yards after catch is just insane.
The impressive thing is it's almost what we imagined Jalen Hurd was going to do, G. You know that kind of thing?
Yeah, but not in this way that Deebo Samuel
He is
does
amazing.
No.
He is absolutely amazing.
And he gets the Jags this week. Ranked 25th against wide receivers.
Yeah.
Mate, sorry, go on.
You can criticize Kyle Shanahan for a lot of things, right?
Shouldn't talk over the top of the owner.
Sorry. Yeah. Why am I apologizing? You shouldn't. Kyle Shanahan, you can criticize for a large number of things justifiably, but one thing I don't think you can criticize is he's putting the ball in Deebo Samuel's hands in a variety of ways.
Yeah.
Which I love. But
mate, he's almost at 1,000 receiving yards. He'll get 1,000 receiving yards already this season.
Yeah.
He's got 5 TDs. This is his yards this season. 187, 93, 52, shit week.
Yep.
156, 58, 100, 171, 63, and 97. Wow. And that's not even with the TDs. That's just the yards he's getting per game.
Where is he in terms of wide receiver? Third.
Yeah.
979 yards so far this year. Over 100 yards in 4 of his last 6 games. I mean, I'm not, I've been critical of Shanahan. What I loved about the game against the Rams was a lot of teams have done well against the Niners this year by taking away the middle of the field, because that's where Jimmy G likes to throw, Kittle, etc. And the Rams did that as well, but it didn't work. And they, the outside run scheme that they deploy there worked really well. Aaron Donald wasn't really a factor. But then when it came down to it on 4th and 5, late in the game, he threw a dart right down the middle. It was like right down the middle, and Debo just took it to the house. Like,
yep.
You've got to admire that kind of ballsy coaching and that kind of decision making in that moment. And who else was it going to be apart from Debo? Like, he's just the guy that they go to right now. Like, yeah.
Chucky. No, mate, we're working things out here now. Yeah. Okay.
And just before anybody questions us about him being a slot receiver, has had at least 12 snaps out of the slot in the last 3 weeks. So there you go.
Okay. Yeah.
That's not who the owner had.
Debo.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had Debo.
Did you? I took you had CD Lamb. No, you didn't have CD Lamb.
No. I had CD as.
Yep. Okay.
But anyway,
problem.
That's all right.
Excellent.
So, tight end.
Okay, Marcel on the tight. Well,
is it?
There's one.
Is it really?
It is. It's that simple. It really is.
Yeah. Sometimes it is that simple.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't get fancy. There's no reason.
Mate, he's averaging almost 10 targets a game.
Yeah.
Close enough to it. He's 224 yards ahead of the number 2 tight end in Mark Andrews. He's second in TDs with 5. Who's number 1? With 7.
For touchdowns?
TDs?
Yes, tight end. Who leads the league in tight end touchdowns? Don't look at your screen, AJ.
Dawson Knox?
No. I was going to say Dalton Schultz, but no, it's not.
No. Be one of your ex-boys, AJ. It would be Hunter Henry. Leads the league in TDs, tight ends. Yep. And in the last 3 weeks, he's put up 289 yards and 3 TDs. So I don't know how you go past at tight end. You just can't. And as an owner, I'd probably quit if you didn't write the check out to Travis Kelce this week.
Yeah, and he's just so dominant, isn't he?
Yeah. And look, he's had some bad weeks. It's taken him a little bit of time to get going, but I think it's taken the whole offense. They've all played bad the first half of the season. Well, for a good part of it anyway.
And funnily enough, Paddy will look for Kelce.
Mate, he moves the chains.
He moves the chains. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. He hasn't had the touchdowns. That's probably what's letting him down a bit this year. I think he's only got about 5, maybe. Yeah, 5. I said. So that's a bit down on the Kelce touchdowns, but I think hopefully now they've worked out their problems and things start getting moving along. Especially a game against the Cowboys this week. As we said, it could be a high scoring game.
Yeah, I agree.
But it'll be. I think it will be interesting to see how the Cowboys use Micah Parsons this week.
Yes, that was one of my thoughts with Kelce.
Whether he actually follows him. In some respects, we've seen Parsons play. Right up at the line of scrimmage though, and we've seen the issues that the Chiefs' offensive line has had this year. Like there could be some joy there for him as well. So. Who knows? Like, it will be really interesting, but like you say, AJ, he should probably follow him.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think they've had more success, mind you. Parsons has been successful in every game he's played, but I think they've had more success with him in the middle of the field as opposed to on the line. So I don't think they're going to put him up at the line. That's the feeling that I have, and we'll see what happens. But I think he's going to be playing in the middle of the field on Kelce, essentially.
It will be interesting because Kelce, for a guy his size, he's very, very good at just sneaking away from you, isn't he? For someone his size, and he's not the quickest dude going around.
No,
right? But it's just. And look, I think a lot of his he's dropped a lot of balls in the first half of the season, which is not like him. So, but no, we're all on the same page for Travis Kelce as our tight end. Okay, so our lineup is we've got the Tampa Bay offensive line. Our QB, which is an owner's pick, is Dak Prescott. We have Jonathan Taylor, which is a coach. I'm going to write this down. Coach's pick, so see how many people get wrong. We have Mike Evans, which is a GM pick.
Yep.
We have Stefan Diggs, which is a coach's pick. We have Deebo Samuel, which is an organisational pick.
I had Diggs as well, so.
Yeah, it's a coach's pick.
Yeah, and owner.
Oh, is that what you said?
And owner. Okay.
And owner.
Deebo's an organisational pick.
Yep.
And so is Kelsey.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Beautiful.
I was tempted to nominate Tyler Conklin, but I'll go with
I was going to mention him as well. But
who just quietly has been gee, he looks good.
He's a really good tight end.
We just have to see. During the week I traded for him in a league. Because like in leagues, you either, if you don't have one of the top 3 or 4 tight ends, then you've got no one. You've got everyone else. You know what I mean?
Well, if you don't have the top guys, you want at least an emerging possibility of an emerging tight end.
Yeah.
Then just having, like a Jared Cook or these, even Evan Ingram. Like, why do you want to? We know what Evan Ingram is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I reckon this.
Pat Frymouth. That's what you want, an emerging tight end.
I reckon this conversation would have been different maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, because there were a few more tight ends that were a little bit more relevant, like your Schultzes and Freiermuths. But over the past couple of weeks, those guys have all kind of dropped off a little bit, and
some of them have. Yeah,
Kelsey's the only one who's just consistent.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Like Darren Waller hasn't been consistent this year. He hasn't been the tight end you want him to be.
No, well, he's been hurt, and they've had a bye. So
neither is Kyle Pitts.
No,
with Kyle Pitts, is he fourth or fifth? That's saying something. When Kyle Pitts is he 4th or 5th in tight end fantasy at the moment? Yeah, but it just goes to show that the tight ends is not as strong as you would like it to be, because he's been okay and he's still number 5.
Yeah.
And they haven't scored the last 2 weeks and he's still number 5.
Yeah, that's kind of the nature of tight end.
Number 4. Like, that's even worse.
That's the nature of tight end.
And then they put up 3 points in 2 weeks. So I don't know, what's the other team put up? Yeah, maybe 85. I don't know what it is. It's not good. It's not good.
No.
And they put up that many points against our defense, and our defense has been the best part of our team.
So saying that though, he has played. So obviously he's played 10 games because they've already played this week. He's got 91 fantasy points. However, 42 of those came in 2 games. So
okay, right,
back-to-back games. So
he's still learning. You watch him, and he's still got a little ways to go.
To see a rookie tight end do anything close to this is
I'd like to see him use his body a little bit more, like keep defenders away from the football by using his body a little bit more. Yeah, he's sort of catching it like a wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like he's not put his body there. He's keeping the separation so he can grab it and go. Where you look at like the bigger tight ends and they'll put themselves between the football and the player. And not worrying about that I'm a wide receiver, I'm going to take off down the field. I just need to catch the ball first, and then I'll worry about the rest later.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that watching the game on Friday, there were the 2 times that Kyle Duggar, who is turning into a great safety, just literally just knocked the ball straight.
Yeah.
Easy, got in front of him, knocked it away.
There's one in particular, Ben, I think, where the way the camera angle was perfect, it was looking straight at them, so they're looking straight at the camera, and you can see him getting himself into a position to catch the football and disappear instead of putting his being a foot a foot closer towards the line, towards the quarterback to put himself in between.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Duggar and that. So that's just, I think you just got to learn those things. Just get the football first and worry about the rest later.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. All right. So we've got it. We've got our 11.
Yes.
And we're all set.
Let's hit the casino. Let's overturn this now.
So if you keep track of or keep the names of your players that you've got on your list down, because what we'll do is, most of them are your two guys anyway. I didn't have much of a say in a few of these, the other obvious ones. We'll just see how well we go, and see who we listen to from this season on. Do we listen to the GM? Do we listen to the owner? Or do we listen to the coach?
Sounds good.
All right.
Of course. But
good,
anyway,
good stuff.
all right.
It's always the guy that signs the checks.
That's right. All right, let's wrap this thing up. So, coming into week 11, bit scary, but we're not that far from fantasy playoffs at this stage. We're certainly more than halfway through the fantasy season.
And it's getting harder to watch every game each week, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Because now there's just games on there that you just no kick.
No, we didn't do special teams. No. Or defense. We possibly could have. It's just that we were thinking 11. We were thinking Ocean's 11, weren't we? That's why we came up with 11.
Week 11. Yeah.
Week 11.
Yes.
Yeah.
But some of the games now, I sit down to watch and I go, maybe just a 10-minute highlight spiel would be enough to watch these two teams play each other. And I must admit, I started watching the Falcons just to go back over it, and I couldn't even get back through the highlights just to refresh my memory. It's just
no. There were very few highlights.
The Falcons' offensive highlights were Matt Ryan getting sacked.
Although, if you did start the Patriots defense and Nick Folk in your fantasy team, you are going into the weekend with 38 fantasy points at least. Just absolutely.
It'd be more than that, wouldn't it? What they score? Like Nick Folk was what, 17? 15?
Maybe,
17?
Yeah.
And what, at 28?
28.
28?
Yeah.
That's
40.
just if you're playing against me, you haven't seen the score and you look at it and you go, oh shit, that guy, he must have had a quarterback and a wide receiver played in that game, and you scroll down and go, shit.
It's for, look, there you go. Look, that's a nice little start for me.
There.
Wow.
Now, if you see that, you'd think, quarterback, his quarterback's played and he's had a wide receiver or a running back play. Well, okay, fair enough. My quarterback, and then you read down, oh, shit. It's his defensive kicker. You pretty much, you're gone for the week. Oh, yeah. If you can't win with that start, the rest of your line is going to have a really good hard look at themselves in the mirror.
And very hard if you're playing
don't
IDP.
Don't make me show the results next week.
You had any Patriots, you probably came away happy. I was happy. Matt Judon had a sack, but Phillips had an interception. Kyle Van Noy, his was the pick 6, I think, wasn't it? Was Van Noy the pick 6? Yeah. Who was the other interception besides Phillips and Van Noy?
J.C. Jackson got one. Who's terrific corner, and then Adrian Phillips got the last one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
well, the offense is not going to come away going for the great game for my offense, like Patriots offense. Let's forget about the Falcons altogether because no one did anything for the Falcons.
No.
It was all one guy.
Go on, G. One guy who was amazing. Another rookie. Christian Barmore absolutely destroyed the offensive line. He was in the backfield the whole game. Defensive tackle for the
defense. The Patriots defense, and you start him in IDP, you would have been, very happy.
Happy, yeah, that's right. Okay, let's wrap this thing up.
Before we go, how's it going? Like, how are we doing?
How are we doing?
Just wondering, did he have a good week? Did he have a bad week? How did Justin Jefferson go?
Well, I think I did message you, didn't I, G, last week after the first quarter when CeeDee Lamb had scored 2 touchdowns and was, just laughing at the camera in my face, what it seemed at like 5:15 in the morning. But yeah, 3, 6. So let me just 5, 6, 7, 8. So CeeDee Lamb is up to 8th with 135.1 fantasy points. 13th, so 13th, Justin Jefferson, who, I did breathe a sigh of relief when he went for 9 catches for 143 yards. So that did bring back a little bit. So 128.1. So only 7 points.
7?
Yep, selecting him. But CeeDee
a touchdown between them.
Yep, CeeDee Lamb with 7, 2, 6, and 6 touchdowns. Jefferson with 7, 7, 5, and 4. Yeah. Nice little matchup.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Better than our what did we have, AJ? What was it? Can't think of who the 2 players were. Are they in the league anymore? Rashad Perryman.
He's still playing.
Is he still in the league?
Parker? Was it
and
Parker?
Devontae Parker, yeah.
They're both still in the league.
They're still in the league.
That's saying
amazing.
Something.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Perryman may not be. I think he is.
I have to have a look. See if he's got an FA next to his name.
Yeah.
Designation.
Right.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody. On behalf of G, Ben, and myself, thanks for tuning in and have a fantastic week. And we'll wrap this up. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Press the button, AJ.
I'm going to press the button. See ya.